the case that Mark brought up, it's next March, I don't care, pick any day you want. And the trash truck comes up and there's 4 bags there.
Right, no recycling.
There's no recycle. What do? You drive away?
Right.
You do? You don't pick up his trash at all?
Correct.
There are towns that have gone that route. I mean, I think you need to
No,
know.
I'm not signing on board with that.
Well, Joe, if there's 4 bags, if there's 4 bags of trash out there and there's no recycle bin, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be recyclables in those bags. I mean, you know, give you big odds on that.
But they're costing, that person is costing the town a lot more money than the other person. So they're using their resources for the town very unwisely, and they should pay for it by not getting it picked up. Because it's their responsibility to separate their trash.
We got a state regulation and a
Town, Article 3.
What if there are no recyclables in those, let's say 2 bags. What if there are no recyclables in those 2 bags? And we drive by and we don't pick it up because there's not a bin out there? And then, I mean, how do we handle that?
How often is that gonna happen?
Huh?
That's not gonna happen that often. It happens once.
Once is too much for that resident that was going along with the program, maybe recycling it somewhere else, whatever they're doing.
I would rather face that situation than go on as we are. I would rather have a confrontation with that one person
Yep.
and clear the air. We didn't pick it up because we went by, saw 2 bags and no recycling bin out. And if we don't see a recycling bin out with any kind of recyclables in that week, with 2 bags, we're going by it. Well, we get there with that resident. But you're dealing with 1, 2, 3 residents in that situation where all the rest of the residents that perhaps used to do that are not doing that anymore. They're getting their recyclables out of the solid waste stream, and that's the effort.
I think it's a virtual impossibility to have 2 bags of trash and no recyclables at all out in your trash on a weekly basis.
Well, if you were throwing away some old clothing, which you can throw away.
You should be recycling
Well, you
that
should
too.
be, but you don't have to now. Should and have to are 2 different things here. See, that's what I'm looking at, is,
What
is,
if
is,
you eat out every week? If that person ate out, every meal, every day, ate out, they didn't generate 1 can, 1 bottle, ate by 1 use, ate by the transcript?
They save it, though.
yeah, save it. It's a burn. And I'm just looking at the possibility of
All right,
that.
look, the
happening.
clock is running.
Sure is.
We spent a lot of time on this.
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion. Let's take it to a
I
vote.
move to impose a visual recycling program effective July 1st, 2008.
Motion made by Mr. Delaney. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. O'Leary. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No, because I don't have enough information on what will be happening, so I just can't go
Motion
along with it.
passes 4 to 1. Steve, just to bring you up to date, we talked about white goods that continues under the existing program where they call and pay in advance for white goods. TVs and computer monitors, something I didn't realize, get picked up if you leave them out there automatically at no charge.
They do.
Yeah. What happens is the truck
Got a couple
will
of 'em.
phone ahead. The truck will phone ahead and
What?
the truck will notify somebody to come by and pick them up. And on bulk items, it's 1 bulky item, and the recommendation at this point is to continue with that. Am I
Yeah,
understanding
and
that?
we just asked the board to, we want to make you aware that that may be something we want to put a fee on at some point in time.
But we also talked about perhaps advertising in the quarterly bill or listing
Yes,
those particular agencies that are willing to accept some of this
Yes.
stuff, furniture and things like that. So that, and then lastly, the
Fee.
rate increase that is necessary for this coming year, which will have to be in effect on the 1st of July until we make a change downstream at some point, which probably is still a year off, is $11.50 additional per quarter, which means the quarterly bill will go from $45 to $56.50.
Which is less than what we anticipated.
And part of it is that we're using $100,000 from the Neswit fund as part of funding that budget. But what's interesting is there's probably,
So that's short-lived then.
well, no,
Not as
because,
short-lived as you think.
because they actually are ending this year with a surplus of about that much, which will go into the general fund as free cash, which we will transfer back into the Neswit fund in October. Therefore, fully replenishing the fund.
We expect that we can possibly go out 3 years status quo on this program with this fee. With that, with doing that exercise, Bob just said, should we consider an enterprise? And of course, you know, how we strongly feel that we should consider it.
I think we'll request them
And lock in
implement that in October.
You're raising money from fees for rubbish, and now they become certified free cash, and they're available for anything, and yet you're raising money through fees, and that doesn't weigh.
And would it be appropriate to set that fee tonight, or do we? We can.
Annual fee of $226.
At this point, I'd see if the board's willing to make a motion on that, and then we won't have to revisit this next
on
week.
changing the fee.
Changing the fee.
I have a question on changing the fee. Will we be giving the discounts that we now give to disabled veterans, and
Everybody that
there's a
gets,
certain group
yeah.
that if they fall in that category?
oh, yeah.
So I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to set the annual trash fee at $226.
Yes.
Effective July 1st.
Motion by Mr. O'Leary. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Delaney. Further discussion?
Yes, if I could,
Mr. Vino.
Mr. Chair, and I believe I did the same thing last year. I realize we have to do this. I realize it's going to pass, but I will be voting no on the premise that I voted against moving that money from general government to another unit of the town. So I'll be voting no, just on that reason.
On principle. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Opposed?
No. I vote aye. That's all right.
We record that.
Yeah, no.
Motion carries 4-1.
I just want to be perfectly clear now on this, because I know the phones are going to start ringing. So as of 4 weeks, July 1st, if they do not have a recycling bin out there, their trash will not be picked up. Is this correct?
No, that's not true.
Oh, that's what I was told earlier.
No.
Oh, when,
No,
There would be an assumption.
You made an example. You just said some examples with a 4-bag and 2-bag with no recycling bin. Those were your examples, unless I misunderstood you. You said, I go by your house, you got
Yep.
4 bags out,
yep,
but no recycling bin.
right.
We wouldn't pick it up because it doesn't compute that you
Let's
wouldn't
go
have.
2 bags. Let's go 2 bags. So you wouldn't pick it up?
Wouldn't.
As of July 1st,
Would probably pick it up in August, and Don's right. We have talked about when we do these, we have to do some sort of announcement and notice. But
okay.
in August, we'd probably pick it up. You said March, no, wouldn't pick it up. They should be getting it by March.
By then, we
that
should
they
have
need to
everybody
recycle.
trained.
Yeah, okay, well, that's what I wanted to know, is was this going hard, fast, because we voted it as of July 1st?
We can't just.
No, well, that's why I wanted to
Leap
get that.
right into
I
it,
wanted to
but
get
we-
that cleared up as to when it was gonna, okay.
We wanted to get really mean. The bylaws, I love these things, by the way. The bylaw says we could charge a fine of $25. So, I mean, this is kind of being nice.
You're the guy that doesn't like big government?
No, well, it's only because it's a bylaw
it's in
already.
place.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I
it's
know.
already in place, so I mean, we can't, if we voted against it, we'd have to change the entire
You
bylaw.
two should be sitting next to one another.
It's just some of the comments that I've received over the years, particularly from the low-end users, some of the seniors who put out maybe 1 barrel every 2 weeks. You know, I mean, they generate very little trash to, single-person households. I mean, I can foresee some issues there, you know. If they're gonna use a barrel and put it out once every 2 weeks, and you're gonna see one barrel and a regular sized trash barrel and no bin. I mean, sure, they should still be recycling, but,
We spent a good deal this evening talking about that. The board wants in October to come in back and revisit some of the other options of the program, including the hybrid pay-as-you-throw and fixed-fee combination.
What you missed, Steve, and I'll summarize just briefly, is that
I don't mean to bog you down.
one of the
Because I've heard it. I've
no,
probably
one of
seen
the
it.
approaches is looking at this automatic pickup. It's a new technology, and it's not something we want to just jump into. But if we're going to go with pay-as-you-throw and go to bags, and then switch to this automatic pickup, which will require a special barrel, right? It doesn't make a lot of sense. So what we've asked Dave and the recycling committee to do is to take a look at the communities that have ventured into this and see where it's going and make some kind of an estimate of if we were going to go this route, because then we'd be saving money on pickup because of the automation. Is this something that we can get into a year from now or 2 years from now, or is it 5 years out? Does it really make sense for us? And get some kind of a recommendation around October, because that would be the latest that we would implement the pay-as-you-throw for the following year, because of the time it takes to get things in place.
Just one
That's
other
what you missed.
point of clarification, for people who are, cleaning out their garage, cleaning out their cellar, cleaning out their attic, and they have a lot of small peripheral stuff, and I'm not talking bulky items, but a bunch of little stuff that's just been hanging around accumulating for years. How are we going to treat that? Are we going to have to try and put it out sporadically over a period of time, and
One of those things is we're going to, next mailing, we have a list of resources where people can donate stuff, issues,
no, I know that, but I mean, there's just stuff, the old curtain rods, whatever it is that's hanging around in your house that have been there for years that you were going to save because you might use it someday.
It's just like the bulky items.
Because, we're talking about implementing this come July 1st. I know I got a lot of cleaning to do between, in the month of June, just because.
You got to be friendly with some of your neighbors.
I
Steve.
know. But no, there are some, I mean, just going down, you see, little kid slides and things like that, the little types, type toys that people just put out because they've had them for 23 years, and,
There is, there's another thing that, from a recycling point of view, I was thinking about a while ago, and that's got to do with metal parts, things like that, clearly in today's economy have some value. And, they could be recycled in another way. And then you've got,
scrap metal collection this side of the United Falls.
yeah, I know that. Right. So, well, maybe that's the kind of thing we have to do more frequently than once a year.
It's twice a year.
And then what about wood?
Oh.
What about wood? Today there are people burning wood in pellet stoves, and is there a market for any of that? Because that's a bulky item that can fill up a barrel, and there's some limits as to what you can do. Have you given any thought to what could be done with that?
Yeah, just speaking for the recycling committee, I'll say we're very open. If you all are seeing a need that's not being met, I mean, Dave has been very good about, we added in scrap metal last year, it was very successful. We're going to do it again this Saturday. We're talking about potentially doing it on a monthly basis. Other options, we're talking about electronics recycling. Wood is a great idea. It's not something that's been on that we've talked about recently. But anything that you are hearing about, we've had the hazardous waste. We're expanding. We're expanding special collection. We're open to that to the extent that DPW can handle it. If there's a market for it, and we're willing to help explore those ideas. So yeah, send those ideas out there.
With the wood, we've stayed away from because we would be challenging construction, remodeling, that kind of thing. There's a lot of scrap wood associated with, and that's not acceptable.
No, I
Construction
understand.
and
Yeah,
demolition,
no.
basically.
So you'll have that challenge.
what are people supposed to do with that stuff?
Well, they hire a dumpster.
Show proof that you have a dumpster.
Right. You have a dumpster.
No, I know, but if I'm putting up some, crown molding, or I'm replacing the molding on my windows or something inside the house, small project
Well,
like
that's
that,
the kind of stuff I was talking about.
what are you supposed to do with the leftover scraps